Hello, I'm Mario Toneguzzi, managing editor of Canada's podcast. Joining me today on Calgary's podcast is Amarjeet Grewal, who is president of KORITE Ammolite. Thanks for joining us today, Amarjeet.
Thanks for having me, Mario. Appreciate it.
All right, let's talk first of all about Ammolite and this industry that you're in. Explain to me and to us, what exactly is Ammolite?
Okay. Well, first of all, I like to talk a little bit about my background with the Ammolite industry. So Ammolite is a gemstone. I love to call it as a Canadian gemstone. It is an official Alberta's gemstone as of 2022. KORITE Ammolite has been bringing the Ammolite beautiful gemstone from mine to the market since 1979. I have been with this brand for a good over 30 some years. So yeah, it's a beautiful gemstone brought it comes from one place in the world, and it's in Lethbridge. Believe it or not. Our mission, or at least my mission, is to bring it to the next level, be called as a Canadian gemstone.
In terms of the color, what can you talk a little bit?
It's a multicolored gemstone.
Okay.
Oh my gosh. As you can see on my background, this is an ammonite. It's a fossilized ammonite. So it comes in various colors, multicolors. So blues, reds, greens, all colors of the rainbow that you can think of. I'm not sure if you can see my ring here, and you can see it in a gemstone too. So yeah, it's a multicolored gemstone. And if you fall in love with a color, I'm sure if it's blue or a red or a green, you're gonna find it all in one stop shop, which is Ammolite.
Okay. So tell me, the Ammolite itself, what is it used for? Like, and the different uses of it.
Yeah, so definitely. So as far as I'll start from the top. Like it comes in a fossilized form, which is an ammonite. Gemstone, which I'm wearing in my ring here, is ammolite. So the difference is ammolite is a gemstone, ammonite is a fossil.
Okay.
So ammonite can be used in your household, in your office, for a feng shui decoration, as a collector. I mean, it's 70 million years old, right? I mean, how many gemstones we can probably say that. There's feng shui masters who do believe that it brings good luck, and it also brings harmony, good health. So different colors represent different things. It's also, for me, it's a piece of art also. When I'm sitting in my office and I'm putting my thinking hat, which I do quite often, it just empowers me, and the confidence that it brings in me. And wearing a piece of Ammolite is it's a bold statement for me, for sure.
Can you talk a little bit, Margit, about the connection to the Indigenous community with this?
Yes. So, like I said, KORITE Ammolite has been in business for good over 44 years now. Has gone through its ups and downs, as we all know. There was pandemic, which we like to not talk about it, but it did happen. So last, I would say, 3, 4 years, KORITE's journey has been quite up and down. So last few years, the ups and downs has brought KORITE to a level where it was up for sale. And it is mined on Indigenous land. I would say in September, Beth and Tracy Day Chief, who are uh, who own Buffalo Rock Mining and has been in Ammolite mining business for, I would say, good over 30 years. They took over KORITE. So they bought all the assets for KORITE. And so now the beautiful thing with KORITE is we have two mine sites. One is on the Indigenous side, which is Buffalo Rock Mining, and the other one is KORITE Mine. So we have our sources coming out of two beautiful mines. So we can proudly say that we have 95% of the market share as of now.
So tell me, in terms of the fossil and the gemstone, what significance, or does it have some significance in the Indigenous community?
So it is considered as a buffalo stone, which is a a Blackfoot story, which we can. There's a lot of stories behind it, and there's a beautiful video on our website, which you can go to korite.com and look at it. Yes, so it is an indigenous gemstone.
Okay, then. Now, let's talk about your connection here. How did you initially become involved with all this?
I've it's been a long journey. I've been in Ammolite industry for good over 30 some years. I feel like I was I was born and raised in Calcutta, India. Came to Canada about 30 some years ago. I came into this industry by fluke. I was my background is accounting, had my undergrad in BCom, and wanted to be a CPA one day. And I joined KORITE, oh God, about 30 some years ago and started my career in accounting. And as I was growing with the company, there were a few positions that had opened. And out of curiosity, I said, oh, you know what? Let me try this. And
Mhm.
it was to do with grading gemstones. That's where I started my role in KORITE, which was, again, 30 some years ago. Started grading gemstones and literally felt in love with the gemstone. And I always say, when you buy a piece of Ammolite, you're not buying Ammolite. You're actually falling in love with Ammolite, and Ammolite chooses you. So I feel like Ammolite chose me, and there was no looking back. And so yes, I do have an accounting background, but in my business aspect, in my entrepreneurship, it tremendously helped me. As it's not just about grading gemstones, but it's about running a business.
What was it that fascinated you and still fascinates you about Ammolite? And
I mean, it's a beautiful gemstone. Other than just the beauty of gemstone, I think it's the story behind it. It is a 70 million years old gemstone. It comes out of Canada, which I proudly call my home now. And like I said, 30 some years ago, I came to Canada and I embraced Canada as much as Canada has given me my future, my family's here. I have so that there's a beautiful story behind Ammolite. It comes from Canada, and it literally is in our backyard. And the sad part is we don't talk about it enough. There's not enough awareness in Canada. So for me, my mission is to bring this gemstone to not only to a global level, but also bring awareness to the gemstone. We're talking about sapphires and rubies and emeralds. But I just feel like I attend tons of trade shows. I travel around the world where it's very few people know about Ammolite.
Mhm.
So my mission is to bring the awareness for Ammolite globally so that we can openly talk about it with other gemstones. Um, Currently, I'm working with GIA to bring our grading system to the same level as other gemstones. KORITE has led as I would say, we set up the grading standard, and the rest of the industry has kind of followed it. And then some other players in the Ammolite industry has come up with their own grading system, which kind of confuses the consumer. So our target is not to lead just with what we think should the grading system should be. So that's one of the mission for me right now, is to work in a fair grading system that the consumer understands when they're buying from KORITE or they're buying from any other Ammolite dealer, that they're buying a piece of Ammolite in the right grading system, that when they bring that piece home, that they
Mhm.
have full satisfaction that they bought the grading that they were offered.
Mhm. Um, when you look at your career, and I know we've talked about this in the past for another publication, but you talked about the influence of your mother in your career. Can you just explain just how important and your mother was through your journey and the things she taught you?
Yes, absolutely. I'm glad you asked. Yes, my mom is my rock, and I owe my confidence, my determination, my resilience, all of it to my mom. Um, Number one thing my mom always taught me or taught us with my other siblings was you always need education. You always need to be financially independent, and I'm talking about 50 some years ago, and there was no woman empowerment, there was no equality, we didn't talk about it. I mean, it was there, but we really didn't openly talk about it. um, I'm talking about 50 some years ago when my mom taught me that, and that determination, that resilience, I took that very seriously and I ran with it. And even today, I'm part of a lot of nonprofit. I'm part of Gems for Gems. Giving it back to the community is a big factor for me. Um, and that comes from my mom. And my mom was big. I would call it a big giver back then, but now it's like giving it back to the community. I'm a Rotarian. I like to give it back to Rotary. I like to give it back to my community, which is Gems for Gems. We and it's not always the financial help. We empower them through education so that abusive domestic women can stand on their 2 feet and raise their families. um, I am part of a lot of other organizations, which we can talk offline someday. But to me, giving back comes from my mom and being
Yeah.
resilient. Yeah.
Yeah. I guess resilience is important, right, for any business owner because everything's not rosy all the time, right?
No, it's not. And you know what? And that's part and parcel of life, right? You
Yeah.
fall back, and stuff's going to happen to you. And what happened during pandemic wasn't just what happened to KORITE, it happened globally. And
Yeah.
if you have learned anything from that was, hey, things are going to happen to you. And it's not about what happens to you, how you react to it. Ups and downs are going to come. It's how you get up and how you react to it. And interestingly, I don't know if I think we did mention in our last interview when we talked about it. I did leave KORITE in 2020, December 2020, and I started my own brand, Iniskim Ammolite at the time. Um, and the reason I want to bring that up is just like total love for Ammolite. Even though I left KORITE, it wasn't it wasn't like the dead end for me for Ammolite. I was like, no, I love this gemstone, and
Yeah.
I want to bring that awareness to the world, and that mission never stopped for me. So I just want to empower, and I wanted to empower globally all the rest of the gemstone industry through education, resources, and support them. Be it
Mm.
be an SKM, be it be KORITE, didn't matter to me. It was just different hat, same mission, same passion, and same vision for me.
So I'm curious, can you recall the first time you went, say, down to the area where the fossil is mined, and do you recall that and what that
Oh,
experience
yes,
was like?
yes, yes. Like I said, I was strictly based in my office and never really visited the mine because that wasn't
Yeah.
part of my role. I can proudly tell you today, I ran KORITE from mine to the market concept, but I really never went to the mine or never cut a gemstone. Those are the two things that I don't
Yeah.
know how to do. And so when I went to the mine, it was like completely fascinating for me. This is literally happening in our backyard. We can actually go dig this gemstone and this beautiful gemstone, and we bring it to Calgary and cut and polish in-house. It was like an awe moment for me. And thank you for bringing that up because I do want to touch on that. the I would say the best part that fascinated me was not about just, hey, we're going to go dig some Ammolite and, cut some beautiful gemstones out of it and bring it to the market. I think the best thing that resonated me was how we ethically mine it and bring that land back to the original state.
Mm.
And so when I came back, I actually recently joined KORITE in October, as I mentioned earlier, along with Beth and Tracy Day Chief. Their vision aligned with me. meaning we want to leave the land in the original state. We're not here to just get what we want, but bring that land to the normal state that you would, if you even went there today, and you wouldn't be able to tell that there was any mining process down there. So environmental sustainability are the top of my mission, and that aligned with Tracy and Beth.
Interesting. Yeah. Now, obviously, as a business executive, your busy life, running a business, etc. But I'm just curious, what do you do to relax, to unwind when you're not doing things at work?
Um, I don't, I used to believe there's a work-life balance, or actually, I like to believe there's a work-life balance. There is no work-life balance. I call it work-life enrichment for myself. So I'm a biggest advocate of mind, body, and soul.
Hmm.
And what does that mean? I mean, fitness is number one priority for me. Actually, I call that my work is my number one priority. My passion is my number one priority. But fitness comes to me naturally. And I think, and I practice hot yoga. And that sitting on that mat and practicing that hot yoga grounds me, brings me back to my roots and say, why do I do what I do every day?
Hmm.
Waking up in the morning is the best thing. I love Mondays. Mondays are the best days of the of the week for me. I wake up in the morning, and what do I want to do? Take care of my family, take care of myself, my body, my soul. And again, this passion that I carry on with me, Ammolite. And the first call I make is to our mine manager every morning. And I say, hey, what did we find today? And he sends these beautiful pictures of Ammonite, and that just makes my day. So yeah, fitness, walking around with my dog, and hot yoga, spending time with my loved ones, where my family is my number one priority.
I guess some people tend, once they're in the business world and they're so, they embrace everything about what they're doing in their business, et cetera, they tend to forget that. But it's, all that other stuff is really important, right? It's important because it translates to how effective and you are as a business person, right?
It is extremely important. And now since post-COVID, I would say we're talking more actually about mental health. I wish we talked about it earlier. And I've been a biggest advocate about mental health. And I practice what I preach, and I'm a biggest advocate of that. And that's why I've joined Gems for Gems. I've joined all these giving back
Yeah.
organizations because I think um, we're all in this business for revenues and ROIs. Numbers will crunch numbers all day.
Mhm.
But when we like I'm glad you were talking about this. Like when we settle down at the end of the day, what fills our cup? What is, to me, number one thing that I wake up in the morning and before I go to bed is gratitude. I practice gratitude like no tomorrow. I
Hmm.
don't take this for granted. For me to come full circle here after I left in 2020 and coming back to KORITE is, to me, is this was a calling. This was a something mission that I want to bring Ammolite to the next level. I
Mhm.
don't take this very lightly. I take this very seriously, but I don't take my life very seriously. Like I mean, you know what? Life is too short. Let's look after each other. Let's practice gratitude. Let's practice taking care of each other. And if anything COVID has taught us is the new norm, which I feel like a lot of us have forgotten. I kind of like that new norm where we had paused ourselves, where we had thought about each other. We were all running into meetings and traveling and staying away from our loved ones, our family. Um, but we survived. We survived on Zoom calls. We survived less traveling. I'm a people person. Like I have to meet people. I have to travel. But what is that? It did teach us to pause, refocus, and just breathe. Just breathe.
Yeah, exactly.
Breathing, and take care of your loved ones. Take care of your business because that's what keeps me going. But there's a you know, just pause. Sometimes we just need to pause, rethink, and refocus.
Exactly. Well, thanks so much, Amarjeet, for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having me.
All right, that was Amarjeet Grewal, who is president of KORITE Ammolite. I'm Mario Toneguzzi, managing editor of Canada's podcast. Thanks for joining us today.